Yeah, hey, how you doing? I'm doing fine. I'm on my 10 toes. I'm on the grind.
Fast itinerary with your boy Shrimp.
It's your girl Zai.
And today we back with a
banger.
Who we got today, man?
We got the real Pooh Shiesty story.
Okay, man. You know what I'm saying? Free that boy, you feel me?
Free that boy.
But listen, at the end of the day though, man,
let's tune in.
Videoing camera showing a new view of a violent shootout in a parking lot of a South Florida apartment building. The barrage of bullets sending 2 people to the hospital, and it lands a rapper in jail. Sheldon Fox.
Wait, he did. You didn't see how he did?
And it lands a rapper in jail. Sheldon Fox.
Get comfortable, man.
Right?
Lontrell Williams, also known as rapper Pooh Shiesty, will remain in jail for now. Williams was arrested for an incident at a South Florida gentleman's club where he's accused of shooting a security guard.
Police also using these Instagram photos showing Shiesty with an assault-style rifle and cash as part of their case. They said the shooter...
Oh, they built the case on that boy.
Is that out?
Lontrell Williams Jr. was born November 8th, 1999 in Memphis, Tennessee.
Wait, what?
1999?
No way we born the same year, bruh.
Young.
What?
Lontrell Williams Jr. was born November 8th, 1999 in Memphis, Tennessee. The murder rate in Memphis has gone up every year for the past 5 years straight, making it one of the worst cities in the United States, specifically being raised in the Cane Creek apartments on the south side, a place that's no stranger to poverty and violence. Lontrell grew up with both parents, but was exceptionally close with his dad, who was known as Mob Boss. His dad didn't earn that name for nothing, and he was a known gang member in Memphis, and the founder of the record label Mob Ties. Mom, on the other hand, was more the nurturing kind, and gave Lontrell the nickname Mr. Pooh at a young age. Pooh being heavily influenced by his environment, he watched his dad gain status in the streets. He looked up to him like an OG or a brother, rather than his father.
Wow.
Mob Boss would take Pooh to the studio with him when he was young, but he was more interested in playing ball than ever rapping. Attending Hamilton Middle School, he joined the 6th grade basketball team and had hoop dreams he planned on achieving one day. This didn't last long though, as his behavior wasn't focused around school, but rather being as bad as possible. He stopped showing up to practice and was kicked out of school so many times there was no way the coach would let him play.
Wow.
While his focus was shifting more and more to what the streets of Memphis had to offer, his dad was also making plays. The Mob Ties label was making moves in the city with their artist named Miscellaneous. But the hip-hop scene in Memphis had been split, causing beef between rappers for almost 20 years. Miscellaneous had problems with Yo Gotti, who was also...
you know Yo Gotti, his head, bro.
That look like a man.
Beef between rappers for almost 20 years. Miscellaneous had problems with Yo Gotti, who was also on the rise at the time, leading to a confrontation in a club in 2006 where shots were fired.
Bitches like the high speed, you know how they got the shit inside me. I'm out there walking out nicely, you can see by the yellow beads on me.
3 people were either hurt or killed during the altercation, putting Mob Tie's biggest artists behind bars and getting Pooh's dad supervised parole. While on parole, his dad was forced to grind in the streets even more for money, now that Miscellaneous was gone. Although he thought he was moving under the radar, the cops were already monitoring the trap house he and his crew operated at for months. Eventually, police made a move on the abandoned building, busting down the doors while Mob Boss and a few others were inside. Some of them ran and jumped out the window, but Pooh's dad was caught in the kitchen before he could make a move. Police found substantial amounts of weed, cocaine, and $10,000 cash in the building. With his dad now serving time in federal prison, Pooh was unsupervised and he could now engulf in the street life. At age 11, he spent 4 months in juvie and was forced to wear an ankle monitor.
11?
But this wasn't enough to scare him.
Damn, that boy whole life it just been like that, bro.
But it's like, nah. That's what he witnessed, but...
Or his mama was, but...
He was into basketball, and then out of nowhere, he just started trouble and stopped going to practice and kept getting out of school. So I want to know what happened. Because he grew up saying his daddy did that, but he tried to avoid it by playing basketball and ready to go to being on the basketball team. So what happened in the 6th grade that made him start getting kicked out and stuff?
I don't know where his mind shift.
You see what I'm trying to say?
In juvie and was forced to wear an ankle monitor, but this wasn't enough to scare him. Fighting, robbing, and finessing people, he gained the rest of his nickname. His friends now called him Pooh Shiesty.
He was already known.
By high school, his reputation was becoming known. He and a few friends from Central High in the neighborhood clicked up to form their own group. They called it Choppa Gang. The crew would often freestyle to each other in the lunchroom and on the block, but Pooh still had no interest in taking it seriously. He turned heartless after losing his close friend, Trey Day, and this only fueled his anger more.
They were like brothers. What?
They hung around
Heartless
a lot.
after losing his close friend, Trey Day, and this only fueled his
Look at them.
They look just like brothers.
anger more. The group started growing, and its reputation with it. This wasn't just a group of high school kids, though. Some of its members were catching cases and bodies. When Pooh was 17, he and his mom relocated to Texas in hopes of a better future. Remembering everything his dad taught him, it was easy for him to blend in and adapt to the new environment. But he was still Choppa Gang at heart. They stayed in Texas for a little over a year, but inevitably needed to move back to Memphis. Despite his disinterest in school, he kept his head down, attended summer school and online classes so he could graduate high school on time. But once high school was over, the hustle continued, and he reunited with his gang. The more involved they got, the more problems they had to deal with. But to them, it was all worth it for the cash they were bringing in. They used this cash to further their brand. One of the ways they did this was investing in studio time, where Pooh, Big 30, Choppa T, and other members all started recording tracks.
That's smart that they did that.
They didn't think much of it at the time, but with their names becoming popular in the hood, of course Memphis showed love. Pooh's first verse was a feature on the song.
One thing about Memphis, they show their people love for real. They show their people love.
In the hood, of course Memphis showed love. Pooh's first verse was a feature on the song Weak Ass Bitch, a remix to Memphis Legends 3-6 Mafia. The song blew up in the city in 2018 with over 100,000 plays, and became somewhat of an anthem for the neighborhood. He followed this up with a few more songs going into 2019, demanding respect as he and Choppa Gang were starting to get huge exposure throughout Memphis. Like most rappers who really come from what they rap about, the music was taking off immediately. Other Memphis rappers such as Blockboy JB would also collab with Pooh and Big 30, co-signing the movement. This, along with Pooh dropping underground hits like Shiesty Summer.
Bro, you know how the album covers used to look, bro? Always had like a car on it with some Florida was always cars with rims on that bitch.
Grills.
Yeah, money.
Trees.
Bruh.
It gotta be something. Bruh. A dog. A pit bull.
Big chain holding
co-signing the movement. This, along with Pooh dropping underground hits like Shiesty Summer, would keep the momentum going into 2019. Everything changed after popular producer Tay Keith reached out. He produced a few tracks for Pooh, and his wordplay and delivery was almost perfected by now. He dropped Maine's line in March and deservingly was getting recognition. This would catch the attention of Gucci Mane in Atlanta, who DM'd Pooh on Instagram that night at 3 a.m.
4 in the morning. Look at my phone. I put something out on me. I said, look at my phone again. He text me again.
Pooh was in bed with a female, but left immediately back home to show his dad, who was finally home from prison. Pooh and Gucci talked for hours on the phone and came up with a game plan. Gucci saw a little bit of himself in him, and he knew he could take his career to the next level. The announcement alone of Pooh signing to 1017 brought mainstream attention to his name. This was a big deal to sign with a major artist outside of Memphis. Most up-and-coming rappers in the city only have two options, sign to Yo Gotti's CMG or sign to Young Dolph's Paper Route Empire, as they have divided Memphis for years. Pooh wanted Choppa Gang to become just as big so he can become a third option. Everything he released from here on out would do millions of plays as his name spread across the country. Shiesty and Choppa Gang were the biggest group coming out of Memphis, with multiple artists getting signed, not just Pooh. On the surface, things were looking good musically, but he was still heavy in the streets.
Bravo.
With all the attention they were getting.
That's like, you already getting that rapper money, you gotta let that street money go. But it's the street money faster than the rapper money, and that's why I feel like they become addicted to it.
Yeah, I mean, rapper money, you can make good investments. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they're addicted. That's what they. I understand that's what you know, but like I don't know. Some people it's easy for them to just like leave their hometown and go do better. Some people it's not.
They're addicted, it's an addiction. Cause I've seen a video about it, like a prostitute. She's addicted to prostituting. It's like you've been addicted to fast money. You're so used to getting fast money. That money that he getting that rapper probably ain't nothing compared to what he was getting.
Sometimes it's better, but like I said, they're just addicted. I don't know how you can get them off of it. I don't know, man.
Even when you move them away, they come right back to it.
Yeah.
Things were looking good musically, but he was still heavy in the streets. With all the attention they were getting, it's no secret other Memphis gangs were envious.
I'm not a rap, alright? If y'all think this on some rap beat shit or we rapping or going back and forth, I'm through. I retire. I ain't making no more songs. I'm not no rap guy. I have a 50 plus 30K up on the mission. I can't let you fuck it up.
Pooh and a rapper named Big Boogie from the north started beefing.
Big
But Pooh claimed he had
Boogie!
pulled up on Boogie and pressed him about the issues. Nonetheless, this didn't solve anything and only escalated it. Only a few days later, Boogie's concert was shot up and caused 2 deaths, one being a female who was good friends with Boogie and on stage with him at the time.
Damn.
This back and forth would go on for months as Pooh's name was getting bigger, along with the target on
Big
his
Dirty.
back. While in Miami, he was involved in a shooting/robbery in a parking lot after trying to buy weed and designer shoes. He wasn't hurt though, and he sped off in a McLaren and left Florida in a private jet, avoiding his arrest. Like nothing happened, he was
GTA?
That's boy. I know he probably called Gucci fast though.
Well, he had to. He had the money.
Well, you probably
Took
call,
the jet.
call whoever fast. Hey, get the jet ready. I'm coming.
Fire the jet up.
Hey, what? Out of
in a
here.
McLaren and left Florida in a private jet, avoiding his arrest. Like nothing happened, he was in different states selling out back-to-back shows. On one of his
Bro.
trips to Atlanta, he booked a session at a popular studio where mainstream artists recorded at. It was here that he exchanged numbers with Lil Durk. The two met up again at the same studio a week later by coincidence. Pooh recorded a verse that night and walked it over to the other room where Durk was recording. Sources say only 5 minutes later, Durk completed the song, and they titled it Back in Blood.
They made that song in like
He said 5 minutes, Dirt. What that be about, bro?
yeah, and that bit was a hit.
Yeah.
Come get that back in blood. Yeah.
Damn.
Song, and they titled it Back in Blood.
And blood.
The audio was released online, and as we know it, this can be credited to bringing Pooh in front of the mainstream. The song was catchy and up-tempo, but the lyrics behind it went over a lot of average listeners' heads. Pooh's ops, EBG, didn't take a liking to the song, and they would release their own remix to Back in Blood in response. EBG wore Choppa Gang killer hoodies in the video, and what's even crazier is some of Choppa Gang and EBG went to the same high school together. Pooh responded on Instagram, mocking them for the fact that he never even had to name drop their gang to get views, and he said he would drop the Back in Blood music video the next morning. After the video came out, the song only became more popular, and with copyright issues, EBG's version was taken down. Pooh clearly was
Damn.
So you gonna try to diss off my beat? And do you think I'm finna just let that slide? Like I ain't got the rights over that? Give me. I needed my money.
popular, and with copyright issues, EBG's version was taken down. Pooh clearly was making his ops look dumb, as the whole country was now singing the lyrics to his song. The main rapper from EBG named Jizzle was shot in the arm. They said this was retaliation for the diss records he had been putting out. He survived the attempted killing, but it was clear Pooh was willing to risk his entire career in order to stay real. It can be hard to leave the street mentality behind, despite making it off the streets of Memphis and into a mainstream rap career. It's a double-edged sword because it's fake to rap about it, but not be about it, and Pooh made that clear. He released his debut mixtape, Shiesty Season, which had the whole industry co-signing him. There's no question he was about to take his career to even new heights. Only 6 months after releasing his biggest song, he was being considered a frontrunner in the industry. While this is happening, Pooh was under investigation for the shooting in Miami the year before.
I would say, yeah.
Police were building a case against him after a bag filled with cash fell out of his McLaren the day of the shooting.
What?
They ended up matching the serial numbers of a $100 bill to one Pooh had posted on Instagram.
Whoa!
With enough evidence.
How?
Because, you know, any money can be traced.
But from your IG, like...
That's what I'm saying.
What?
It was on pictures. Zooming in. They got
That's
that. They got the
crazy.
technology to really do that.
That's crazy.
That's
bro.
scary.
In the
Because
serial
what
numbers
else?
of
It makes you
$100.
think they got technology to do that. What else they got technology for?
With all the things that they ain't gonna tell us.
Fell out of his McLaren the day of the shooting. They ended up matching the serial
tell
numbers
us
of a
in the
$100 bill to
movies.
one Pooh had posted on Instagram. With enough evidence to warrant his arrest, Shiesty was being forced to turn himself in. Despite the warnings of friends and people around him, Pooh is now potentially
Why you look
facing
happy,
life.
though?
Look like a school picture, right? Like,
Yeah, like you look at peace. But let me get this over with.
And despite the warnings of friends and people around him, Pooh is now potentially facing life in prison. He's being held with no bond until his court date later this month, leaving the future of his rap career in question.
Damn.
You got something special, take advantage of it. Don't disrespect your blessings and position yourself so you can position your family on the next level. Fuck right now. The chains and jewelry, that's cool. All that shit cool. Right. The chicks that's on your dick, everybody, oh, boo, yeah, that shit cool. Let something happen to you.
Right?
Yeah, that part. Yeah, man.
I enjoyed that.
Y'all let us know the updates about him, man, when he coming out. Or I'm not even that. When is court date, whatever, trial.
Yeah, what's up?
What's going on? But listen, man, at the end of the day, though, man, y'all know what's up.
Make sure you like,
subscribe,
comment,
share.
hit notification bell.
Cause you know what, baby?
Baby.
That's
Gang!